If you don't do a good job of remaining hydrated and keeping your electrolytes up, then fasting can be pretty intense. Yeah, I remember. I know. I've made that mistake in the past of not getting enough fluids in and of not kind of making sure that I was getting my electrolytes, particularly when it was a busy week, busy day, busy fasting period. I was out working, maybe sweating, and you may have had that issue before. And tonight we're going to talk a little bit about that electrolytes, and we're going to talk about hydration. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new year, new you, I'm talking to adults who have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, who want to put their diabetes in remission, who want to reverse their diabetes, get off of some of those diabetes medications, who want to improve their metabolic health. If you're new to me, hey, go ahead and put new in the comments because I would love to give you a hand clap and welcome you with some music to let you know that we are happy that you are in this space at this moment to hang out with us. If you do have questions as we go through the night, go ahead and put those in the comments with a Q, and we will get to those. Wherever you're joining us from, we are glad. We should be streaming to all of our social media platforms at this time. Instagram, Twitter or X, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and even Twitch. We are there as well. So glad that you're here. If you know someone who needs to be here, go ahead and send them a link and let them know that we are in the process of getting into our fasting check-in. I am in another 72-hour fast. We may go a little longer, but right now we're aiming for 72 hours. And at midnight, here in just a little less than 3 hours, it's going to be 48 hours. We did our check-in last night, and here we are 48 hours, almost two-thirds of the way into this fast as we head down the road. I am, as you know, working through this new year, new you. And our goal is to reverse diabetes, reverse type 2 diabetes. Once again, we're talking to adults with type 2 diabetes. And we've been using this amazing tool called fasting. Fasting is the deliberate, intentional abstention. That is not taking in anything with calories. And that's what we've been doing here over the last several months. Actually, we've been doing this since December. And every week we've had this process. Last week, we actually did a little bit over a 96-hour fast. The week before, we did a 102-hour. This week, we're at 48, going to be 48 here in 3 hours, or 2 hours and 54 minutes. I may end up this week going a little longer than the 96, but we haven't decided yet. At least 96 is what we're doing. Here at the beginning of the week, I came on and we were talking about doing a 24-hour intermittent or 23-hour intermittent fasting where you fasted for 23 hours, ate for an hour, and so forth. And that's what we've been doing. That's what I've been doing here over the course of this last week to get into this fast. And if you didn't see my check-in yesterday, go ahead and watch that because it was an intense one, because there were some things that happened that delayed the fast. I was actually intending to start the fast earlier. But we're talking here tonight about electrolytes and fluid balance. As I get into the night, let's go ahead and start with our check-in. And first, let me actually say hello to one of our community members. Hey, Teresa. She said, hey, Dr. Woode and everyone. Glad that you are here. Teresa hanging out with us. And I do see some folks over on, that is Teresa, over on Instagram. So glad that you're there as well. And right now we should be streaming into our Facebook group. That's a new process that I'm working on to kind of get that standardized. Okay, so that should be heading over there, and we'll tell you more about that as time goes on. All right, so let's go ahead and let's do a check-in. And as you know, I always talk about how I'm feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. So physically, today I am feeling good. I'm feeling energetic. Last night I got to bed relatively early compared to what I've done in the past. I got to bed probably a little bit before midnight, right? And so I slept for 6+ hours today, or this morning, or overnight. And so feeling rested. Hopefully I'll get a little bit more here tonight, and then as we get into the weekend. So feeling good, not feeling lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, any of those palpitations, any of the things that people associate with fasting. Mentally, I'm feeling clear. I was energized. I did a discussion earlier tonight with a group of men based out of Florida, and so that was fun. And so I deliberately went to bed early last night so that I can be fresh and ready for that. And then emotionally also, whenever I do a talk, it doesn't matter whether it's here, whether it's in person. This talk we did was on Zoom, answering questions. I always get energized because I'm always amazed and always exciting to see the transfer of information, to hear the questions, to see and hear people thinking through the processes that we discuss. So for me, that's always energizing. And so I'm feeling that way tonight as I came off of that just a little while ago. And now I'm here spending some time with you. So physically, mentally, and emotionally, that's where I am right now. As you know, I do have my monitors, and let's see, we do have our meters that we're going to take a look at. Actually, why don't we go ahead and do that right now? In particular, let's take a look at what my so that's my Fitbit. That's not what I wanted to see. We'll see that later. Here is what my blood sugars are right now, and once again, I'm at 45 hours, a little over 45 hours, so 69. And you see at the bottom what the blood sugars have been running for today. Let's go ahead and take a look at, this is my Dexcom, and the Dexcom is saying that I'm 82. Over to the side, I do have my Keto Mojo and my Contour. So let's go ahead and let's do that right now. Let's just do this one. Yeah, let's do that one. Oops. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So Keto Mojo and Contour, and let's go ahead and get, actually let me go ahead and open this up. And so these are the strips for the Keto Mojo. This is the blood sugar or glucose strip, and of course for the Contour, I've got my little vial here with a bunch of those strips. Let's get that in. And then off, you'll see on top here, this is just my container with a bunch of different strips and lancets. And tonight I'm just gonna I'm gonna take 2 out just in case, because remember last night we had to do that a couple of times. And tonight I'm gonna see if I can do a good job of getting a good stick. And basically you turn this is spring loaded. So when I press this button, the lancet will come out. And so let's go ahead. I'm going to turn this. And basically, as I turn that, that breaks that off. And in there is going to be the lancet that's going to do the poke. And I'm going to do this finger and do a good press. And I think that got me a good one. Yep, here we are. That came out very nicely. Okay, so that's the Keto Mojo, and here is the Contour. While that's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and try to massage another drop of blood. So 87 for the Keto Mojo and 79 for the Contour, and you'll see on the screen that my Freestyle is 68, okay? While that's doing, let's go ahead, and I should have opened this on up, but that's okay, I'll do that right now. And this is the strip for the ketone. And let's go ahead and get that started. There we go. Okay. And then as I always do, I'm going to tease you guys by not showing you what that is right away. We'll have a little discussion and we'll come back to look to see what my ketones are. If you think you know what the ketones are going to be, go ahead and drop those in, drop that in the comment, because I'm always interested to see what you guys think. What you guys think the ketones will be. All right. Let's go there. Okay. All right. So let's hop over and let's take a look. And well, let's go ahead and start our discussion. So we're talking about electrolytes and we're talking about hydration. Electrolytes and hydration. So why is hydration and electrolytes important? So water fluid is essential for all bodily functions, including digestion, circulation, and temperature regulation. So if you're fasting, by virtue of fasting, sometimes people are not conscious of the fact that they need to drink. The same thing happens, and I've pointed this out to some people who over the last several weeks and months. When you are on medication such as things like Mounjaro, Mounjaro, Ozempic, Wegovy, and Zepbound, for example, those medications that suppress the appetite. Sometimes when the appetite is suppressed, you are not thinking also about drinking, and so you want to make sure that you are being conscious. If you have to set an alarm on your phone, on your watch, so that it reminds you that it's time to drink, because the natural tendency is, if I'm not eating, to not drink as well. Okay, so water is essential for all bodily functions, including digestion, circulation, and temperature regulation. It also helps with hunger. So staying hydrated can help manage hunger, those pangs, and to keep you feeling more comfortable during the fast. All right, so make sure you're doing those. Those are two very important things. So electrolytes are crucial for muscle function, for nerve signaling, and maintaining fluid balance. So not only do electrolytes help with all those other things, but the electrolytes will help to maintain and keep fluid in your body. Okay, so wherever salt goes, water goes. So if electrolytes, your salt levels, your sodium levels are in the normal range, then it will keep fluids in your body. Also, a lot of times people will feel lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty. They'll feel weak because their electrolytes are not where they should be. And so once again, as you see there, it also helps with muscle function and with nerve conduction. An imbalance can cause symptoms like dizziness, cramps, fatigue. A lot of people will talk about having Charlie horses or cramps, particularly when they're dehydrated. There it is, right? That's the reason, because those electrolytes are playing a big role in that process. Okay, so here's some tips. Some tips for maintaining hydration and electrolytes during fasting. Number one, drink water regularly throughout your fasting period. Right, as I just mentioned, set an alarm. Whatever you have to do, carry around a bottle. A lot of people carry those thermoses. Carry one with you, so there's a signal, there's a cue that you've got to drink, and also set those alarms. You want to aim for at least 8 glasses a day, right? The minimum. If it's hot out, if you're sweating, if you're out doing things, you may need more than the 8 glasses, but begin aiming for at least that much. So tip number one. Tip number two, consider herbal teas and broths to add variety and additional nutrients. Right? So we've said that you can have unsweetened tea, you can have water, you can have black coffee. Broths we've not done in the past because depending on the broth you're using, it will have calories in it. But if that is a way of maintaining the hydration as you're moving through the fasting, go ahead and add that, and we'll make a point here in a little while when we get to the end. We'll make a point here in just a second. All right. So tip number two: consider teas, herbal teas. Add broths so you can add some variety. Tip number three: add a pinch of Himalayan salt. Yeah, to your water to maintain sodium levels. So that's a simple way of doing it. Just add a pinch in there. The sodium is in there. You're drinking the water anyway, but this can help you maintain hydration and maintain the electrolytes. Because remember, wherever sodium goes, wherever salt goes, water will go with it. So if you put some Himalayan salt, when you drink that, the salt stays in the body because it's bringing the electrolytes up, and so water tends to stay with it as well. Okay. Tip number four: use electrolyte supplements or drink drinks designed for fasting. We mentioned, when was that? A couple of weeks ago when we did our fast. I was in the process of testing or using some electrolyte supplements and found that one of them had some calories. And so I no longer use that during my fast, but I was trying to find other ways of maintaining electrolytes. And that's a very good way of doing that. There are lots of supplements on the market. We will at some point do an evaluation where we can share that with you. Right now, we're evaluating those as we are using that personally. Okay, so tip number 4. Tip number 5, eat foods rich in electrolytes. Yeah. So eat foods that are rich in electrolytes during your eating window, like leafy greens, nuts, and seeds, so that you can tank up. One of the things that, and we're going camping here later this summer, and so as part of the preparation, I did a talk with the parents to tell them what they can begin doing as we are preparing for that, and doing things prior to the event, like making sure that you're hydrated, like making sure that your electrolytes are where they need to be. That will help you during the fast. So not necessarily eating those things during a fast, but preparing leading up to the fast. As I've mentioned before, preparing for the fast is just as important as the fast itself, which is just as important as how you break the fast. So all 3 of those phases, very, very much important for you. And then in summary, staying hydrated and maintaining electrolyte balance, those are keys to successful and comfortable fast, right? Making sure that it happens. Otherwise, you feel lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, as I did before. And then listen to your body. Listen to your body. I can't tell you the number of times when the body is telling you to do something and you're plowing away because you're like, I'm going to get through this fast. I'm going to do this fast. No, listen to the body. If the body says now is not a good time, there's no harm. You can always come back to the fast at another time, right? So listen to your body. So electrolytes, very, very important in the process of fasting. All right, so let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's take a look at some of my monitors, right? My report, that is, on what's been going on over the last several days. If you've not done so yet, go back and watch our show from this past Monday, how to create a sausage top cauliflower pizza, in our episode of Cooking with Dr. Dwain Woode. Go back and take a look at that. And if you've noticed that we've had some replays of that coming over the course of the week, kind of something new that we're trying and how to get the content out to you. But make sure you go back and watch that. That was this past Monday at 7 o'clock. And then, of course, we did some of those replays as well. All right, so let's take a look at our report. And you'll see on the screen that based on the last 14 days, my average blood sugar there has been 107. So 107 over the last 14 days. I've been in range 87% of the time. In range to 87% of the time. And that target range is anywhere from 70 to 180. If I add the in-range numbers and the low blood sugars, you'll see there that 99% of the time I've been either in range or actually low. Okay, so in range or actually low. My glucose management indicator, which is a surrogate for what my blood sugars would be or what my A1C would be, is 5.9. Remember, we've been kind of hanging at 5.8 for the last several weeks, and that was going up a little bit, 5.9. And you'll see probably as I look through some of the last couple of days where that bump may have come from. All right, taking a look at the daily graphs, I want to go back and actually let me go back here for a second, back to our overview, because I want to see what my 90-day average would be. All right, so 90-day average is 104, and then of course the glucose management indicator is 5.8. All right, let's go take a look at our daily graphs. And I'm going to scroll back and go to about Sunday. Let's back up a little bit. And as you know, Sunday we were doing a 23-hour fast. So 23 plus 1 was our eating window. And then Monday again, trying the same thing, 23 plus 1. And then on Tuesday, right? So Tuesday was the day that I had that fender bender, and there were all those emotions that were coming up. And so Tuesday, even though I was supposed to start it at 6 o'clock, start the fasting at 6 o'clock, we didn't start the fast until later. And so now, let's see, midnight. So Tuesday, actually Wednesday, right? Started it there. So all Wednesday and then Thursday, which is where we are right now. And so leading up into the last 3 hours, and that will put us at 48 hours coming up here in just, let's see, 2 hours and a little over 2 hours. A little over 2.5 hours. That'll put us at 48 hours. And so look at the blood sugars, y'all, right? So over the course, so we started out here. So even though we were elevated, came down, and so heading into, because we started the fast right here, right at Wednesday at midnight. So Wednesday, so 24 hours, and then over the course of Thursday, blood sugars kind of staying in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And then we'll see what that is coming up here in just a few hours, and then into tomorrow. Okay. All right. So that's what my graph looks like. Let me go over and see what my ketones are going to be. What do you think the ketones are? Huh? What do you think the ketones are? If you're out there and you have an idea, go ahead and drop those in the comments, because I'd love to know what you think, what the ketones are. And I do see a comment here from May, says that she, so no meat, I do not eat meat. So in your fasting, remember that, and let me come over to look at this one. So fasting is an amazing way of incorporating metabolically beneficial procedures, right? So fasting doesn't care whether you are a carnivore, a meat eater like I am, whether you are a vegetarian, a lacto-ovo, a pescatarian. It doesn't matter if you are a vegan. So fasting is simply the abstinence from anything taking in. In our case, we're doing a calorie fast. So it doesn't matter what the meal type, what the diet, the types of foods you eat, is just really abstaining from them. And as you break a fast, remember you can use vegetable broths instead of bone broth and beef broth and chicken broth, as I've talked about here on the show. Okay, so good. You didn't ask a question, but I answered that anyway. So I just wanted to jump in and say that. So for all of you who are out there on Instagram, thank you for joining us, and here on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, X, whatever platform you are on. Thanks for being here. So Teresa says that she thinks ketones are going to be 0.6. Well, let's hop over. And so here is my meter. So I'm going to have to turn that on. And then I'm going to go and start my Keto Mojo app. Start the Keto Mojo app, and you'll see that saying syncing in just a minute as it starts to pull the information over from the Keto Mojo. And so 87 was my blood sugar, and 0.86. Look at that, Teresa, you were pretty close. 0.86. So in terms of ketones, ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 are considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 is considered therapeutic ketosis. And so the benefit of ketones is that when you see ketones, you know that your body is not using carbohydrates at the time. that it is using fat, and the byproduct of fat is to produce ketones. So for me, I'm excited when I see those ketones, because that means that my body has switched from burning carbohydrates, it's burning fat, and that means that my blood sugars are better, and you saw that there. That means my weight is going down. That means my cholesterol is improving. All those beneficial things that we talk about. So if I look at my graph, the tan line is blood sugar, and the turquoise line is ketones. So as let's back up. Let's go over here to last week, right? So notice that as I started eating, the blood sugars went up, the tan line, and the ketones went down. Because remember, once the blood sugars go up, insulin has to come out. When insulin comes out, ketones can't be in the presence of insulin. So ketones and insulin can't be in the same space. So as I'm eating, blood sugars are going up. As blood sugars are going up, ketones are going down. And then I started fasting. And as I started fasting, now the blood sugars are dropping. And as the blood sugars are going down, the insulin has to go down, or else I would go hypoglycemic, right? And as insulin goes down, ketones start rising. And so that's what you saw there. And then same thing here, as my blood sugars are dropping, as blood sugars are going down, tan line once again, the ketones begin coming up to where we are right now, 87 blood sugar and ketones of 0.8. So now I'm in nutritional ketosis. All right. And that's what we want. We want our body to get into ketosis. For those of you who are out there who are looking to see what diets you can use in conjunction with fasting, is it last week? I think. Let's see, when did we do that? We did a show on diets that you can add to the ketone or to the fasting process. Let me go over to the YouTube channel, and just a quick note, and I'll pull this up. If you've not already been to the YouTube channel, you can get there, and we have several playlists that are on there. How to Reverse Diabetes is the playlist with the shows that we do on Mondays. So all of those are listed there. We have a playlist on fasting, how to fast successfully. Let's see. Let's go ahead and find that one. How to fast successfully. There it is. Right. So how to fast successfully. And, oh yeah, what diet should I eat on non-fasting days? So, right, that's that second one that you see there. What diet should I eat on non-fasting days? That's the one that we did. That was our check-in, I think, last Friday. Go ahead and take a look at that one, because that will help you in conjunction with the fasting. Because on your non-fasting days, the question is, what do you eat? What are you going to eat? Are you doing an intermittent fasting in addition to the extended fasting? Are you going to do a ketogenic or ketosis, get into ketosis, Mediterranean, paleo, any of those? The reason I was bringing that up is if you are planning to stay in ketosis post extended fast, you're coming out of an extended fast and you want to stay in ketosis, then monitoring your levels is very important, because it helps you to see where you are in terms of the food that you're eating. I recommend for everyone, if you are a diabetic, whether you're type 1 or type 2, if you are trying to become metabolically improved, if you're trying to reverse any of those metabolic diseases that we talk about, right? So high blood pressure, high cholesterol, coronary artery disease, polycystic ovarian syndrome, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, I recommend that people use a continuous glucose monitor, and that you get a monitor that will allow you to also check your ketones. Because those two pieces of information, very, very much important. If you remember our platform, or not our platform, but our pillars in terms of reversing diabetes and improving metabolic health: 1, decrease insulin, whether it's exogenous or endogenous. Number 2, suppress the appetite. And then number 3, get rid of as much sugar as you can. And so the fasting coupled with any of those dietary choices will help with that as well. Okay? All right. And so let's talk as we move into the rest of the week. We're almost two-thirds the way through this 72-hour fast. I want to talk to you about your unlimited potential. You may have doubted whether you can be healthy in terms of your diabetes, whether you can be healthy in terms of your weight. You've had a heart attack, or somebody around you've had a heart attack, and you're questioning whether those things can be better, whether you can make changes. And I want to convince you that you have unlimited potential. One of my favorite symbols when I was doing math, right? So I was a math major, was the infinity, right? The infinity symbol. And you've heard that phrase if you've been following, like for instance, Marvel, right? The Infinity Stones, the unlimited potential, unlimited power that comes from wielding those stones. And here, with education, empowerment, and encouragement, you have unlimited ability to make changes in your life, to make changes in your health. Forget what's happened in the past. You may not have done all the things you needed to do. You may have made some decisions that even now are having consequences in your health. That's the past. We're looking forward to the potential that you have right now. Beyond what you thought, beyond what you believe, beyond what people have said that you can do, you have unlimited power. The question is, how do we tap into that? We tap into it with education, empowerment, and encouragement. And that's the platform that we do here on the show. I educate with the shows that we do, the podcast, the blogs, all of that is with the intention of doing education. When I talk, when I go to churches, when I do groups, when I have presentations, that is all education, because we've got to change the mindset. If we are going to have benefit, if we are going to move forward, if we're going to be successful, we have to have education. It's a mindset change. It is a frame shift from what we've been doing to what we're going to be doing now. Next, we empower, and the empowerment comes from all the tools that we're learning. The tools of fasting, that's an amazing tools. The heat model, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. Emotional intelligence, learning how to tap in to ourselves, to know where we are, what state we're in. Like I did yesterday when I came home and was struggling, or the day before yesterday, when I was struggling with all the emotions that were there. The thing that helped me move through that was practicing the emotional intelligence, the tools that we learned. Being able to construct a 7-day menu, right? So that's important as well. And then we encourage with the community that you are part of, that you are building, this community that we are in right now. The heat model, these are the things that push us to break our fast, to eat when we don't want to eat. Habits, emotions, access, and taste, those things will break through decisions that we've made and even the plans if we're not careful. And then our call to action is this. Number 1, join the challenges. Don't just let these things that you're learning be a video that sits on the shelf. Right? Join the challenges. Every month we've had challenges, and those have been very instrumental. In January, figuring out your why. Why do you want to do what you're doing? In February, learning to fast for a 24-hour period once a week. That's what we're shooting for. Right? We've been doing a 72-hour. Work your way up to a 24-hour fast. What of the heat model? This was in March. Which part of the heat model is yours? Which of the things that push you? I'll tell you, I have 3 of them. Emotions, access, and taste. Those are all mine. Okay? So make sure that you are looking, because if you have information, if you're able to identify what it is that's pushing you, then you can make changes. And then in April, the challenge was to construct a meal that minimized your processed foods, no added sugar, that had healthy fats, lean protein, some starchy vegetables, non-starchy vegetables, appropriate portion sizes, and that was tasty. In the month of May was to find someone that you can mentor, that you can come alongside, that you can hang out with, that was going to be your partner as you move through the new year, new you process. I challenge you to find someone and teach them the new year, new you process. Not someone that you told about it and then left them alone for months and months, but someone that you were going to come alongside and walk with, and you're going to check in with. Someone put a message in the on the YouTube channel. They said they live in another state and they're looking for someone to be able to work with them, right? You can do that. Pay attention for those of you who are out there. We're going to be having our community meetup coming up here in the next week or so. Actually, is it next week or the week before? Week next, where we can come and we can hang out together and we can begin building the community. This process works much better when you have somebody you're doing with. It's fun, right? And then, of course, this month it was to make sure that you're getting all of your labs checked. Get with your healthcare provider, your healthcare team, and work through that. That is going with our show that we did this past week on labs that you need to get done. Not this past week, but the week before, on labs that you need to have checked. Make sure that you are doing that during this month if you've not done so already. So call to action. So join the challenges. Number 2, share your story. When you show up, let us know what's going on. Are you fasting? Have you fasted? Are you having any challenges? What have you been doing? Last night, yesterday, we were on a show and we had several of our team, our community members sharing. One person said that they are down below 200. For the first time in years. They went from, I think, 247 pounds down to 180 some. That's amazing. Right, they're off medications. Their doctor had to drop their blood pressure medication. Share those stories, because when people hear that, they know that they can do it as well. If you can do it, then so can I. And when you hear challenges, like I shared last night from my challenge, you know that you're not alone. There's nothing like thinking you're by yourself. And in this community, you're not by yourself. So share your story. And then invite someone here. Invite them to this space. There are over 1 billion people on the planet right now who are suffering from diabetes, who have prediabetes. You can be the voice of change. You can change the structure of your family history. You can change your community. You can change your church. You can change your neighborhood. You can change your doctor's office. Send them a link. Say, hey, let's go watch this together. Let them know what's going on. We're here, and we are working through the year, new you, as we reverse diabetes. If you're out there and you're saying to yourself, I'm not diabetic, so I'm not listening to this. No. That's not what we want you to know. We want you to know that even though you're not diabetic, the things that we're doing, the things that we're talking about, the procedures, the plans, they also help with non-diabetes related diseases. Any of those metabolic diseases can improve with the process that we're talking about, the new year process. Go back and look through the playlist, as we talked about, how to reverse diabetes. Look through the playlist, how to fast successfully. Fasting for beginners, right? We started that particular playlist, and we're going to be adding more to it as we go through the course of the year. Make sure that you are joining in and knowing that, hey, you don't have to be a diabetic to have improvement in your life and in your metabolic health. All right? Awesome. All right. So I do see one of our community members hopping on. So Steve is here. And let's back up. So Steve is saying, hey, he said, I've ordered some ketone strips for my meter. Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. All right. And Teresa says, one day I will get it. So Teresa, you must be talking about guessing the ketones. Yeah. So, but you were pretty close. You were pretty close tonight. 0.6 to 0.8, right? So not bad. I love it. All right, y'all. Well, I'm always very excited about being in the space with you. Always glad when I get a chance to come and hang out and share. And if you're out there, if you haven't commented, just go ahead and say hello, right? Claim your space. As we build this community, I'm loving the interaction that we're having, loving the space, the community, loving the support that everybody is providing for each other. And we are expanding, y'all. You will see several of these shows, and you may have seen that started this week, where we had replays of the shows at different times, because there are some people who can't make a particular time. I want you to try to get those when we're live, but if you can't, we're doing those. You can go back and watch the replay. Let us know that you're out there, right? So when you're watching the replay, go ahead and say, hey, I'm here. We're streaming to some new places, and you'll hear more about that as we get throughout the year. Hey. Always glad. This is Dr. Dwain Woode, as I always say. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health in your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new year, new you. We'll see you tomorrow at our check-in, and we'll see you on Monday, 7 p.m. Central at our show. Good night, everybody.